It's Tuesday, January 16th, 2024, and I hope you're all doing really well today. And we're going to talk about Basel III, which has gone off the radar a bit in the last year and a half or so. But I think it's still really important. It's been the implementation of these Bank for International Settlement regulations have been kind of kicked forward. They've been avoided. But I think Basel III, the Agenda 2030, Davos, which started yesterday, their boondoggle in Switzerland, the globalists, they're all related. And I've spoken recently about the Bank for International Settlements, how it was created in 1930. And 100 years corresponds to 2030, right? And these globalists, they're quite well organized, and they do things like on a very long-term basis. And I think it's all related. They can't have a one-world government with strong nations out there, especially the United States. And I think that's their problem. And it's interesting as well that I've seen that President Trump, he won Iowa very easily. And I don't think they like that. So before we go further into what Basel III is, just wanted to let you know that Miles Franklin, one of my U.S. precious metals affiliates, they've got a special this week. They've got silver maple leaf coins, only 1 ounce, that is, only $3.75 over spot. They got a 1/10 of an ounce gold maples, only $32.50 over melt. And also they have a special 10-ounce RCM silver bar. That's only $2.75 over spot. And finally, they've got a 1/4 of an ounce gold maple leaves, only $59 over melt. If you're interested, just email them, info@milesfranklin.com, or call them on this toll-free number and tell them that Maneko64 or Mario sent you there. So first I want to talk a little bit about, for those of you who haven't listened to me for a long time, who are new to the channel, the purpose of my channel and my background a little bit. My background is in finance. I started out in the late 80s in a small private bank in Geneva. I used to live in Switzerland. My parents moved to Switzerland in the 80s. My dad's business. And I finished university there, and I got a job at this small private bank. My degree was in international relations with economics. And then I came to London to work in the financial sector in 92, and I've been here ever since. I left finance in 2012, mainly because I was in the futures market. I was an institutional broker in the bond market. And yes, that business kind of died away. And the desk that I worked for was basically closed. And I've been trying to warn the public even before I started my channel or publishing videos on my channel back in late 2015. I've been trying to warn people about the fragility of the monetary system probably back in 2002 and 3 when I started buying gold and I started learning about the whole system and how there's a small group of people running everything. And I've been at this for over 20 years. So what I'm trying to say is I've been trying to warn people about institutions like the UN institutions like the World Economic Forum, the Bilderberg Group. Even before 2020, I've got a playlist called Davos Men, and there are videos there from before 2020 warning. For example, one of them is called Davos, the Globalist Agenda and Climate Change. I was considered probably a conspiracy theorist before 2020 and probably still is to some people. But we can see what the game is now. It's a consolidation of power and one world government. And the best way, of course, to bring in one world government is to create a crisis that affects everyone, a little bit like a pandemic, right? A little bit like the climate crisis that affects everyone. They always look for international crises that crosses borders, so they can create institutions, supranational institutions, and BIS is one of them. So we circle back now. Don't like using that term too much, but we'll circle back to Basel III. What is Basel III? Well, the Bank for International Settlements, which was created by private central banks, by JP Morgan and others, and I'll put the recent video I did about this up in the cards and you can watch it. Well, they are the regulators for the big banks. And you'd think, why would an international institution that is like supranational, it is based in Switzerland, regulate American banks? And it doesn't make sense. Or regulate UK banks. It's outrageous in my opinion. And not to say that the regulators of the banking system are any good. And that's a different story. But be as it may, Basel III is to do with the regulations that the BIS thinks the big banks need, especially the too big to fails. But it's for any bank really with 100 billion plus in assets. And even people like Fortune magazine are kind of waking up to it. There was an article from December 2023. It said the US economy could face a perfect storm if Basel III Endgame goes into effect. I'm not going to go through the whole article, but the summary is that Basel III would force banks with 100 billion plus in capital, and especially the too big to fail Wall Street banks, to increase their capital requirements by like 20%. And that, of course, would hurt lending, credit, and all this. And in the fiat currency regime, especially where we're now in terms of that, that would be really prejudicial for the economy. I'm going to put a link to this article in the description. It's not long. You can read it. There's another warning here from the National Bankers Association. They're warning of a negative impact on proposed Basel III reforms, and it will have on minority depository institutions. So it's not just for the too big to fail banks. As it says here, it will apply to any bank with more than 100 billion in assets. So when is this Basel III being implemented? Well, it's been in the works ever since the '08 crisis. They had Basel II, Basel I, and it never really worked. So they have. I'm sure there will be a Basel IV if they're still around, the BIS. Let's hope they're not. But yeah, they've kind of delayed the implementation of this Basel III. According to Deloitte here, in the US, Basel III NPR allows banks a transition period of 3 years, starting July 1st, 2025, with a fully phased-in date of July 2028, and includes an extended 120-day comment period, eliciting inputs from the industry. So it's not there yet, but it is a concern. And I think... yeah, they want to get this done before 2030 because they want to bring everything down. They want to bring in their central bank digital currency. And who will be in charge of that? worldwide, what will be the BIS? And yes, that's what it's all about. And how can we fight this? Well, I always say that knowing what's going on, knowing what your enemy is doing is always very good, and telling others about it. And I think this information permeates. When I look back to 2019, 2018, when I was already warning about Davos, the World Economic Forum, the Bank for International Settlements, very few people even thought that was important, or no one really had heard of Davos, the World Economic Forum. But now it's, I mean, almost not everyone, but it's a lot more out there. So I think we need to make people aware of this and make sure that, we act accordingly. And in terms of what to do financially, well, as I've said many times before, try to avoid being in their game. And what does that mean? Well, being in the financial game, I know it's impossible for almost everyone, because many of you have 401ks or private pensions here in the UK, SIPs, and a lot of your savings are tied up in these instruments. But I've spoken about the Great Taking back in September, and it's becoming more and more. People are becoming more and more aware of that, and I think the powers that be don't like it. And if you want to find out more about the Great Taking, I'm going to put the links up in the cards as well for the videos that I've made about that. So having a foot outside the system is very important, especially as we approach 2030. I think they have that date, not because it sounds good, but it's because it's a long-term plan of the international bankers who really control everything. I mean, is Trump really gonna fight them if he wins? Maybe. You never know. Some people will argue that, and even me, that in his first term he could have done more. But it's difficult because these people have tentacles everywhere, not just in the US, but in the UK. And it's tough. Maybe a second time around, Trump might be able to fight these people more, if you believe he will. I mean, I've been wrong about Milei, in my opinion. I thought he was going to be good for Argentina, but I see that he's attending Davos this week, which is a great shame. And he's just shown his true colors. And that's why I say I'm not too sure about Trump, but it seems like a better alternative than the people that are in charge now. And I wouldn't even say the guy in the White House is really pulling, he's not really, someone else is pulling his strings, right? It doesn't make sense that someone in his condition is really deciding things. But there you go. Keep Basel III in the back of your mind. And let's have a quick look at the markets this morning then. It's 8:23 a.m. London time. And why do I say London time for those of you who are new? Well, because I am in the UK. So I want to be sure that you know when I'm talking about these prices. So we've got spot gold trading just below 2050. We're at 2049. It's down about $5. High's been 60 and the low 47. Silver's at 23.15. It's down 6 cents. The high's 26 and the low 03. Why do I start with gold and silver when I look at the markets? Well, because they are money. They are the most important metals out there in terms of monetary metals and in terms of money, period. They are sound money, and that's why I start with them. Now let's look at the stock market. Well, the Dow futures is down 156 points, or just under 0.5% at 37,415. It has been as far down as 37,379, so we're about 50 points off the lows. The Nasdaq future is down 126 points, or 0.75%. We got the S&P futures down 22 points, or 0.5%. So the stock market under pressure. Yes, I haven't spoken about all the geopolitical situation. That's not improving. I see that a U.S. merchant ship, has been hit in the Gulf of Aden, which is just before the entrance to the Red Sea by the Houthis. So things are not improving in that part of the world. To the currencies, I see the dollar is strengthening this morning a little bit. The pound is down just under 0.5%, 126.70. The euro is down 0.25%, 109.18. The dollar is up 0.25 versus the yen, just above 146. Dollars up versus the Swiss franc as well, 0.33% at 85.60. And the dollar is up about 1/8 versus the yuan at 7.19. Aussie dollar, that's down 0.5%, 66.25. Dollar is up 0.4 versus the Canadian dollar, 134.84, and the Kiwi dollar is down 0.4 as well, 61.71. So dollar strength is something going on this morning here. That's probably why gold is down a little bit, but it's not down that much. It's down only 1/3 of a percent. What about the commodities? Well, WTI crude is unchanged, 72.65. Brent is up slightly at just above 78. Platinum is down $6, trading around 910. And high grade copper is unchanged, trading just below 380. We'll quickly look at the bond market, U.S. Treasuries, that is. The 10-year yield is just below 4%. It's at 3.99. It's up 4 basis points. The 2-year is up almost 6 basis points at 4.20. So with that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Take care. Bye.